Hey guys, so this is going to be a lengthy, unscripted Destiny 2 rant. I need to talk about this game. I need to talk about everything that I've been feeling basically for 5 months now. Like, basically, since Edge of Fate released, I felt like I was losing my mind with every bad system, every bad change, everything bad with the game right now. And I've got to get it all off my chest. So let's get into it. The main reason I'm making this video is to get a certain piece of feedback across that I feel like just needs to be said. I've seen a million videos ranting about Destiny. I've seen a million people complaining about everything related to the game, and yet this one single point I feel like may not have been iterated enough, right? Edge of Fate released, and a lot of things about it were bad. I'm going to be very clear. The expansion itself is really bad. There's like no content in it. It's probably the worst expansion ever released. But here's the core piece of feedback that I have. When Edge of Fate released, Bungie introduced a bunch of new systems to the game. The new leveling system, the portal, the new tiered system, the new armor system, all of these things that released alongside Edge of Fate. Not a single one of them actually had any degree of polish to them. We're releasing all of these sweeping changes to the game that overhaul a lot of the ways that you do a lot of things in this game, and none of them feel like they were actually handled with care. None of them feel like they were actually done in the appropriate way, right? It's not necessarily that any one of these things ruined Destiny, right? I don't think the portal ruined Destiny in and of itself. I don't think the new armor system ruined Destiny. I don't think that tiered loot ruined Destiny, any of it. The new leveling system. None of it in and of itself ruined Destiny. It's that when you put all of these things into a vacuum alongside a lackluster at best DLC, you get an absolutely awful product that the community is absolutely beside themselves with, and no one is enjoying it. We're bleeding players, we're losing content creators left and right to go play other games or honestly just quit. It's a miserable situation, and it didn't have to happen. I'm going to get into all of that later, but when Edge of Fate actually released, one of the first things that I said when I actually really sunk my teeth into the portal was, this is a good foundation. That is the first thing that really came to my mind before all the negatives sat in. I kind of just thought to myself, the foundation here is good. Sure, the roof is leaking, the walls are caving in, everything else about the house is absolutely in shambles, but the foundation is still good. And that's really the root of the issue. Bungie released all of these systems without proper care or polish, right? We'll start with armor and tiered loot, right? Exotics were completely exempt from this system. They said they did not even have plans within the year to do anything about exotic tiering. And they said this before the expansion even released, and I immediately knew the minute they said that this system was not ready. It did not need to ship when it did. And that's, again, like we keep going back to it, but that's the issue, right? All of these systems are being released unfinished and without polish, right? All of these systems that were rushed out alongside a lackluster DLC without polish. We can go to the tiered loot system, right? When the tiered loot system released, there was absolutely no thought put into how you actually acquired tiered loot. It was basically just a mindless level grind, which can coincide with the leveling, right? These systems are not being released with thought put into them. I don't understand what exactly is going on internally at Bungie, or what did go on internally at Bungie leading up to these things, but it seems like they had all these ideas on a bulletin board and they implemented them into the game without actually deciding whether or not these changes would be good for the game at the time, right? And the thing is, I don't think any of these systems coming to the game with Edge of Fate were necessarily bad systems in and of themselves, right? Again, it's the fact that they're being released in the state that they were, and then Bungie has to play damage control for 5 months and try to right all of the wrongs with all of these systems that you could argue didn't need to be implemented in the first place. And it's also the fact that a lot of these systems are detrimental to the things that people already enjoy doing in the game. Like, we didn't have GMs for months. Raids are irrelevant. All the raids and dungeons in the game basically are irrelevant right now. In all the years the game's existed, the LFG server has never been more dead than it is right now. That server was popping even in some of the lower times in Destiny's lifespan, and right now you cannot find raids. No one is in there. Like, I mean, you can basically go and join any raid room you want at any time of the day, and it's going to be empty because no one is doing raids. There's like 10 raids in the game, maybe more, that are all completely irrelevant right now because these changes that released alongside Edge of Fate made all of them basically obsolete unless you're basically brand new to the game and you've never experienced any of these raids, any of these dungeons, right? If you're still doing them for the first time, sure, there's a novelty to them. But for anyone who's returning to the game, any players who have been around for a while, no one is going to be willing to do these raids and dungeons that are basically irrelevant now, right? And Bungie has done everything I feel like they possibly could have to try to do damage control over all of these awful changes. But here's the thing. None of them should have had to be damage controlled in the first place. These changes should have been implemented later down the road when they were actually polished. Again, the root of the whole issue. All of these systems are being released in a state that is unacceptable. I know I keep saying it, but I feel like I really need to get that point across that it's unacceptable to release systems with no polish, especially when those systems are at the cost of a lot of features that people actually want to play. Again, Edge of Fate basically removed the entire hardcore Destiny player, the entire, the upper echelon of the community, if you will. It basically rendered 90% of the content that they like to run irrelevant. A raid that came out 1 year ago is completely irrelevant. The dungeons that came out this year and late last year are completely irrelevant. And I just can't understand what went into anyone's head to release these systems like this in the first place. It's so frustrating to me that I feel like I'm losing my mind, man. Like, I'm reading the roadmap to Renegades today, and all of it sounds good. I'm not disappointed with anything. I'm actually looking forward to Renegades. I think it's going to be way better than Edge of Fate. But, again, it's like all of this dev time, all of these resources are being wasted on fixing things that should have never needed to be fixed in the first place because they should have all released in a better state than they did. And that's really the whole point of this rant, because I feel like this piece of feedback, this single piece of feedback, is the most important thing going forward for Destiny. And it's the reason why we are where we are right now. Bungie has to understand that in the future, anytime they release any new system to the game, that A, it can't be at the detriment of people's content that they already like running, and B, it cannot be unfinished. These systems have to be released with actual care. It has to be released with actual thought put into it and actual foresight about what's going to happen. And the thing is, you can argue, yeah, hindsight's 2020, but I feel like everyone kind of knew where this was going before Edge of Fate actually released, and that's what's so baffling about it. The community pretty much immediately before Edge of Fate released knew that all of these systems were going to be a problem in one way or another, every single one of them. And they ended up being a problem. And I know Destiny is an ever-evolving game, right? I know things are never going to stay the same in Destiny. And that's perfectly okay in and of itself, but it shouldn't feel like we're beta testing a game at all times, right? It shouldn't feel like we're waiting for things to get better at all times. Again, I'm honestly really looking forward to Renegades, and I don't mean to just be negative, right? Like, my focus with Destiny has never been, I want to shit on this game. I hate this game. That's never been the case for me. It's just, I'm so frustrated with the way that things have been handled with this game over the last 5 months, 6 months, whatever, since Edge of Fate released. It's so frustrating to me that we've had to go through this whole cycle. And I just hope that going forward, Bungie can learn from this, and if they're going to implement any major changes to the game, that those changes are actually made with thought and care. I know this was probably all over the place, but I really needed to get this off my chest, man. Like, I have just been holding this in for months and months, and it just had to be said. If this resonated with you, I hope that, maybe you feel like your opinion is vindicated or whatever. Maybe you don't agree with it or whatever, and that's okay. But this is just how I feel. Like, this is, to me, the most important piece of feedback that I have for Destiny.